Biden,
Happy New Year, brother.
in what he said today. I'll start with you, Geraldo. The idea of framing this is not about taxes. It's not even about how much we're getting done. It's about saving the democracy, and Trump is the biggest threat that we have. Not a shocker, but do you believe it was effective, delivered the right way, and the right bet for Joe Biden?
The thing about President Biden, who I care for a great deal, every time he speaks, I find myself holding my breath, hoping that he doesn't stumble, hoping he doesn't lose his place on the teleprompter, hoping he doesn't lose his way when he completes his remarks to get off the stage. I worry a lot. It reminds me whenever he has one of these big live events, and this is the first, the start of the campaign, really, that age is a big issue. In terms of the substance of it, though, I thought he did a fine job. I think that Trump deserves all the criticism you could possibly mount over his dreadful, his despicable act in denying the constitutional succession and stabbing the Constitution in the back. I really believe, however, that this election will be about abortion. It will be about immigration. It won't be about January 6th, though, Chris.
All right. And Cenk, you are a known critic of Biden, not because you hate him. You say he can't win. And that's what brought you into the race, and that Democrats are crazy for not having opened up the primary. I think fair criticism, although we both know that historically or from a precedent perspective, that doesn't happen when you have a sitting incumbent. But you would say this is not the way it normally is. Look at his numbers. Look at the situation around us. All fair. Let's let people hear a sample of what he offered up today. And then I want to hear your critique of whether it's the right message for your party. Here you go.
The choice is clear. Donald Trump's campaign is about him, not America, not you. And our campaign is about preserving and strengthening our American democracy. 3 years ago tomorrow, we saw with our own eyes the violent mob storm the United States Capitol. Political violence is never, ever acceptable in the United States political system. Never, never, never. It has no place in a democracy, none.
Cenk?
Yeah, so I'm mixed on it. First of all, stylistically, Geraldo is right. We're all worried every time he speaks. 77% of Americans say that they're worried that he might not end the second term healthy. That is devastating, and I think it's crazy that Democrats are running him. But on the substance of the speech, well, half of it I just loved. And look, I'm running against him, and I'm being fair and honest here. When he said Trump lost 60 court cases in a row and presented no evidence, I thought, finally, he's saying it. In fact, I think he should have made this speech 200 times over, and I hope he makes it again and again. But the half that's problematic is, and again, I agree with Geraldo here. He says Trump says this election is about him and not about you. That's true. But what is Biden saying? Biden is saying this election is also about Trump. About Trump is so bad, you're forced to vote for me, right? But he hasn't suggested one single policy that he would do in the next term. He hasn't talked about how he's delivered for the American people. I mean, he created more than twice as many jobs as Trump, but Trump is up 19 points on jobs. That's because Biden doesn't know how to make his case. He should have been saying this 100 times over, and he should be talking about how he's going to help the average American. But he can't make that case, so instead he's saying that he wants the race to be a referendum on Trump. But I don't believe that that's a winning strategy.
But, Geraldo, haven't the parties and the media and just the whole game of it scared everybody into their corners where they're not really thinking about policy anyway? They're thinking about survival, and now on almost an existential level, which is which of these guys is least likely to destroy us?
You know, I have a lot of Republican friends. I'm still a Republican myself. And people say these people, think that there was this insurrection or this rebellion or this riot that he incited. And, this is awful and so on and so forth. The fact of the matter is most of the Republicans I know in their hearts that Donald Trump deserved to be impeached, that he deserved to be out of office, that the election was not stolen, that, what he did was totally selfish, but they're voting for Trump anyway. Why? As I mentioned before, I think abortion For the Democrats, immigration. For the Republicans, plus taxes, law and order.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.